So here is my 20 by 48 foot greenhouse, which I have been growing in this size for almost 30 years. But one thing I didn't realize when I first got one was just how much it would cost to heat this in the winter. And I do start seeds starting in January. So the temperatures are still cold outside, and until the nighttime temperatures reach an even level where I can put tender plants down here like peppers and tomatoes and some of my flowers, I need to create a micro environment in my greenhouse for my seedlings. Now this is a pallet shelf that I have converted into a seed starting shelf, and I have several of these, but I was running out of room in my house for these, so I thought I would bring one down and create my greenhouse within the greenhouse. So what I'm going to do is level this. And while I'm leveling it, I just wanted to tell you my regular large greenhouse has 2 layers of polyfilm, and then I have a blower that blows a layer of air insulation in between the two. But even with all of that, the greenhouse only stays about 10-ish degrees warmer than the outside air. So you can imagine in the winter when it's cold outside, it is still too cold in the greenhouse. So now that I have this all nice and leveled so that my watering trays will water evenly, I have 3 shelves here where lights will hang from. The top one doesn't have lights, but I'm going to create some hoops over the top of that to make it like a little greenhouse. And down here is the plastic that I will be using. Now, on this one, I have some hoops that I use out in the garden just for frost protection and things like that. It's just plastic tubing, and I'm going to create the arches with these. Now, what I'm using is some zip ties, and they weren't quite long enough, even though I got some long ones, but I'm just clipping the two together like this so that they're stuck together and make a longer one, and I'm just snugging the zip ties down so that my little arches don't move. So now you can see I've got the frame of the greenhouse up there. Now these are my shop lights. I have 2 per row. You do not need fancy grow lights. I have been using these again for almost 30 years, and for the amount of time that the seedlings are under these and need it, it provides ample amount of light, and I always have great success. So now I need to start hooking up my lights onto the shelves. This is the trickiest part because these darn little S-hooks, if you let go of them, they fall down into the light fixture and they're gone forever. I can never seem to get them out. But I don't know if you can see here, I have little hooks underneath each shelf that the little chains hook onto, so that way I can adjust the height of the lights so I can keep them as close to the seedlings as possible and move them as needed. That's not leveled yet. I won't worry about that until I'm ready to put some plants in here. But now you can see I have all the rest of them hooked up. So now it's time for me to get the plastic over the top. And on the way down there, you can see it's almost 85 degrees in here today because the sun is shining. And I have my little interior fan here. It's just temporarily on this old ladder because we haven't hooked it back up after replacing the plastic. And this is the plastic that we took off the greenhouse last year. We're saving it for another project, but I'm just going to cut off a smaller piece at the end here where I can use it over my little mini greenhouse. Scissors were probably not the best option for this because, oh my gosh, my hand was killing me by the time I was done. And it's, I would say, oh, I don't know, it's probably folded over on itself 5 or 6 times. So now I have it down here. And what I'm going to do is just open it up. And there is a bad end. That's why we replaced the plastic on the greenhouse. So I'm just using the good portion of the plastic. I'm going to drape it front to back, floor to floor on each side of the hoop. So there's going to be 2 pieces. And there you can see I've created my little greenhouse. And I wanted to do this so I had a flap in the center where I could open it and I could access the plants inside when I need to water them or move them. Now I'm going to show you potting up some of the seeds that we're going to be using in this little mini greenhouse. These are my little 4-pack cell trays. And this soilless mix that I have here, I kind of create my own mix. And if you are interested in that, I have a whole playlist on growing from seed, and I can link that down below. There's already a whole bunch of videos in there that you can watch. But this mix is nice and fluffy. It has a lot of perlite in it. And all I do is fill up the little 4-pack. I tamp it down just lightly to make sure there's not a whole lot of additional air in there. So once the roots get going, there's plenty of soil for them to adhere to. And I just start loading up my tray. And once I get my tray full, then we will move on to planting the seeds. Now this is Bupleurum. It is a flower, kind of a filler flower that I use. I always want to put a label in there so I know what I'm growing. This is best direct seeded out in the field, I never seem to get the area that I'm going to put it in the next year ready. So I always do it this way. You can see the seeds aren't super big, and there is some chaff in there because these are seeds that I have saved myself. And I'm just going to sprinkle some in each one of the cells. It doesn't matter if I get 1, 2, 3 or more seeds in there. Once they start growing, I will prick them out or transplant them into larger cell trays so that they each have their own. So it doesn't really matter to me. And I'm only going to plant half a tray of these because I am going to succession plant, which means that I will plant another batch in another week or two so that I continually have fresh flowers throughout my growing season. Now I'm just going to take out the extra trays that I'm not going to plant this time so they're not in the way. And these like to be lightly covered, so I'm going to take some more of my Soilless mix. And you can see it's kind of lightly damp. I didn't water this down too heavy, but I always like to pre-moisten my Soilless mix because it is a lot easier when you bottom water for it to absorb when it's already damp in the first place. So I'm just going to tamp it down just lightly, scrape off any excess, and then I'm going to put those in my little greenhouse. Now, we came back up into the house because it really got too hot down there for me, and I'm just showing you some of the other flowers that we're going to plant. Now, these are cool season flowers that I'm doing right now, and these are straw flowers. They're another one that I use. Their seeds aren't horribly tiny, but again, I don't worry about trying to just get one in each cell. If I get more, I will pull them out and I will transplant them. Again, labeling everything so I know what I've got and putting that in there. And cool season flowers are flowers that you can grow in the cooler temperatures without needing a heat mat or not much. So this is my sprayer. I absolutely love this. I have a link for some of the products that I use down below if you're interested. And if you do purchase, it does help my channel out. I gain a small little commission from Amazon on them. But again, it does help out my channel if you purchase through that link. So you can see the spray on this. I love it because what it's doing is it is adhering that seed down onto the soil. And then I'm also going to do some Rudbeckia. The Sahara is really, I found, not a great cut flower, so I'm going to grow those in pots for sale. And then I'm going to do some Goldilocks for cut flowers. And you can see how even tinier these seeds are. And I just get kind of to the point where I just scatter the seeds when they're that tiny and worry about transplanting later. Now I do use vermiculite to cover over seeds that just need a very fine covering. And the reason I do this is we have well water and we get green algae that grows on top of the soil a lot. And this does help. Doesn't completely prevent it, but it does help. And I'm going to just take my sprayer and I'm going to dampen that down again so that there is adhesion between the soil and the seed and the vermiculite and the seed. And then I will take these downstairs. Now this is stock that I started a little while ago. I started these in early January. You can see that by scattering the seeds like I do, some have multiple in them and some I didn't get any germination at all. Now these are older seeds and I was expecting that. So what I'm going to do is just go through here and take the ones that don't have anything growing in them, and then I'm going to transplant out some of these that had 2 or 3 in them. Now, just know that I'm very delicate when I do this. And again, I've been doing this for almost 30 years and I have great success, and I'm very, very gentle. Like, I'm not smashing these roots or anything. So if you have a gentle hand, I just use a big barbecue skewer and I just am going to separate these so each one has their own cell and can grow on to a decent size. And now we're going to take these downstairs with the others, and you can see I put saran wrap just for a humidity dome over top of those seeds we just did. I have a heat mat on there. And these ones down here, this is the stalk that we transplanted just a second ago. I put a little more vermiculite on there. And these are onions. These are all cool season that as they get just a little bit bigger, I will put some heat mats down in the greenhouse with my little greenhouse in the greenhouse for overnight heat, as well as the lights during the day will provide plenty of warmth down in the greenhouse. So now we're going to just take a peek back down there and show you the flap so I can open it and access it. And this is the Bupleurum. Make sure that you're subscribed if you enjoy this kind of content, because I'm going to be showing you progress of everything along the way. But thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll see you next time.